USF was the reason why I could develop as an athlete, because when I came there in 2012, I really wasn't that good yet. Like, I wouldn't have had any support back in Germany, and that's the place where I could really develop. And Talon would always tell me, like, one day you're gonna be an Olympian, but I didn't really believe it until like 2018 when I really made this breakthrough without injuries. And that's also when I started racing the steeple. And there, for the European Championships in Berlin, I ran the 9:29. That's when I realized, well, I just ran an Olympic standard. So that's when I really started focusing on Tokyo and being like a little bit more focused, less dreamy about it.
I started the steeplechase at Princeton my freshman year, immediately loved it, kind of became a steepler from then, and graduated feeling like I had more in me, but I finished up all my track eligibility. So I went to USF, competed in 2 cross-country seasons, ended up having a new coach who just come in, be the head coach, Pat McCurry. Luckily, he was a steeplechase specialist. It got me back into good shape and carried on training with him and a lot of the USF group after graduation, and made the World Championships, much to my surprise. And I think that was the moment really when I thought I could make the Olympics.
I did set Rio as a goal of mine, but I didn't feel like I was done there. So I wanted to keep improving. And so it really took a lot of focus and dedication on my end to really get to where I wanted to be, and especially when they changed the standard by 15.5 minutes. I believe that I can do it, and I knew that it's now or never. I would regret if I didn't really give it everything.
I was injured basically in the middle of the season. I had the hiccups with my Achilles, so I couldn't race the German championships. I had to take 3 weeks of running like mid-season and watch everybody just race, hitting the standards, and I just had to rely on this world ranking. And it was like a really, really stressful time, because on the one hand I was like nursing the Achilles, and on the other hand I was just like constantly checking the world rankings if I will still be able to make it. I actually was at the airport to finally race another race, and I got the invitation. I started like crying on my gate, even though basically everybody was telling me like 4 weeks before, like, you're safe, it's fine. But I still didn't really believe it. And then when it hit me, like, it was just such a relief.
I didn't really think that early in this season when, I hadn't raced in a while, and I kept coming close to the Olympic standard and just not getting it. And I had all these doubts about how, I hadn't progressed in these 2 years that I'd been committing myself to the sport. And then finally was able to crack that standard at the Portland Track Festival. And then I think once I got over that mental barrier, which was a pretty big mental barrier for me, I was able to kind of let my physical fitness do the work.
I remember talking to my coach the night before, and he said, yes, your PR is 2:42. We both believe that you can run the standard, but you really need to go and run it. It was my first marathon in 4 years.
Tiyouri is coming in to finish, and she's going to break the Olympic qualifying.
I didn't really realize I qualified until I looked at my watch.
The other one is just inside the qualifying time.
Yeah! Besides making it my second Olympics, I was like, man, I just ran 2:29, almost under 2:28. And honestly, like, if you asked me 3 years ago, I wouldn't believe I could run this time, Not that I was not legit before, but it made me a little more legit,
Fantastic running from Lizzie Bird, automatic qualification for the Tokyo Olympic Games, British title at 9:35.
I think she had an awful lot left in the tank. I know that she's about 11 seconds off the British record.
I knew I had the fitness to have a go at the British record, 9:24 at the time. And so talked to my agent and coach and just tried to figure out what kind of race I could get into between then and the Olympics. And managed to get into the Monaco Diamond League, which is, I think, one of the most prestigious diamond leagues for distance events, which I didn't really know at the time, but I was pretty excited to get in. We were moving pretty fast and just yeah, I think hung on for as long as I could. Managed to overtake a couple girls for I think a 7th place finish in 9:22, which was a new record.
A national record for Lizzie Bird of Great Britain in 7th place.
When I arrived at the track before my heat, I was probably the most nervous, or close to the most nervous I've ever been.
At the end, we're just all really trying to do our best, and my number one goal was like finish on empty, to really give it my all, and at a given day, that's what I did.
I still ran 10 minutes faster than I did in Rio. In Rio, I ran 2:47 and I was 90th. And here I ran 2:37 high and I came in 48th place.
I wasn't quite satisfied with my race, and I know I can do better, but I still finished like 17th in the world, and so that was something that really like fired me up, and also, you know, knowing that I have so much room for improvement, I'm definitely fired up for Paris.
I think with the Olympic final, I knew that I'd earned that spot, and so I could, you know, go in there and try and be as competitive as I could. Also just be proud and excited to be the first British woman in a steeplechase final. After I ran 9:22, I thought, like, let's try and get that 9:20 barrier, but I didn't know if it would come in the Olympic final. My focus wasn't on time. My focus was just on finishing as high as I could, and I managed to, knock a few seconds off that record.
It just speaks for yourself that you really support your athletes on their long-term goals. Like, you don't want to burn them out in the 4 or 5 years of college, but you really want them to like achieve their life goals that go beyond college. And that's something I still really appreciate, that I got the chance to really slowly develop and now still have the chance to compete at the highest level.